Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another Art of the Game, where us three GMs share tips and tricks that you can use for your role-playing game, whatever game it is, D&D or what beyond, D&D and beyond.
Hey.
So, this show was originally the brainchild of Woody. So, Woody, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so we were just talking about resurrection in RPGs, and that's an interesting topic because there's a lot of games where it becomes kind of a revolving door, and so uh, it's an interesting viewpoint because I was reading over the stick and they were joking around about if you only get one life, then you could do anything, there's no consequences. You might as well go out with. And they were just kind of flipping the script on it, but it was it's an interesting idea of like how do you address this topic, because in D&D it's been classically an essential part of the game, and in some of the versions of it, literally you do have that revolving door where you can just keep coming back, but not every game is like that, and you don't have to have it. And there's also the question of how do you do it well if you're going to introduce this sort of thing, because it shouldn't be the revolving door. And so I thought it would be an interesting discussion to see how we would handle this problem.
I see two ways to handle it personally.
Okay.
Unless you want the revolving door. If you're a campaign that wants no consequences and you're just doing some silly things, whatever, right? But assuming you actually care about the revolving door as a problem, the two ways I know is do it like Daggerheart, which is a high-level cleric in that system can resurrect once in their entire career. And once they do it, the divines no longer allow them to do it anymore or whatever like that, right? So it's exceedingly rare because of that.
Yeah.
Or what I actually usually do in my games is I give them a skill challenge to be resurrected. I don't like Matt Mercer's way of doing it, where everyone else around the dead person gets to try to help them. I thought that was always kind of weird. I like giving the person who died the agency to try to get back, right? And so if they die, I usually give them some type of dreamlike vision or something. Like one guy was a follower of Gond, the creation god. And he literally had this skill challenge of as an old man working on a statue, turning it into himself, and then he became the statue and walked out as he like redefined himself. And it was just a series of skill challenges to do this. If he failed those skill challenges, he would have just died permanently. But he actually succeeded. The more you die, the harder it gets. And he succeeded and was able to walk through the bright door out back to life or something like that. So that's usually how I do it now, is I give them a personal skill challenge that's personal to that character.
Mark, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I like giving them a lot of opportunities to survive. Luck points or whatever, whatever system we're talking
Try
about.
and prevent the death in the first place.
Prevent the death in the first place, yeah. Because then I think it cheapens it if then they actually survive, get resurrected. But if I'm going to resurrect them, it's got to be a big storyline or something, like search for Spock kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
travel them on Doom, throw them in. Oh wait, no.
Yeah. I would do something like that otherwise, because I feel like it just becomes a revolving door, and it's probably, it doesn't make sense from a world building perspective, because then there's no death, or at least not for rich, at least not for the rich and powerful or heroic. I guess they're gonna all know somebody who can resurrect somebody. So. Don't worry, I know a guy. We'll fix him right up.
So when my main group was playing, they wanted to play the World of Warcraft RPG, which is D&D 3.5, and
it was 4.
No, it was 3.5. At least maybe there was one later that was fourth edition. I don't know, but the problem we ran into with it was there was, like, if you got taken down and you got brought back, which relatively easy to do, there's an experience point debt. And there was a point where my character leveled down so much in a short span of time that I couldn't.
Had to retire.
Yes, I did.
You just got some brain damage. You just got a little spittle there. Go, who's fight?
Yeah.
I think it's done. I think it's over.
Well, I'd already had a backup character lined up, so I just brought in my backup character and had just kept going with. So my original character had to step back from the campaign. But
that's a way to do it. You have to keep track of experience points doing that, but that's fine.
But like for me though, most of it, playing the Palladium games like I've done, I mean, they do have resurrection, but it mechanically it isn't really a thing. Like the clerics in Palladium Fantasy, they have a percentage chance of resurrection. You only get one shot, and so until you're higher level, it's not even worth doing. But even then, like you're probably only going to have about a 40% chance of success rate on that. So the likelihood of actually pulling it off is pretty low. So
Interesting.
it's kind of meant to be something that's rare, right? So, but also, it's weirdly enough, the clerics in that game also have unlimited healing. It's not much healing, but they never run out. So, they can do it forever. So it's kind of like, I guess it's a trade off for lack of resurrections. But it's I personally think that if a resurrection is going to happen, I think it should be significant, and like having. But like I think it also matters, like having a finality, like if a character gets killed and they're done, like you would hope that the character went out like a boss and did something cool, right? And
yeah, there's a lot of games lately that have options where you're like you can do a last act kind of scenario.
Yeah, I'm very much a fan of that, but I think that having like the revolving door where your characters like keep just living forever, I think it kind of cheapens the experience personally.
I do too.
Yeah,
I think it's too easy.
Just let him die, and then her twin brother comes along. He's got the same amount of experience.
Their identical twin brother with all the same skills and abilities. Yes.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say on it other than just don't do the revolving door. Make it something significant to come back. Whether you do it internally to the person who died or you do it externally where they have to go on a quest to actually make some type of significant thing to do it.
Well, I think there is another aspect of this though that we could discuss, in that like there's also the question of the villains, right? Because like if the players were to take down some major villain, and then you bring the villain back somehow, right? That actually could turn into an interesting storyline, because it's like, how is this character coming back? Because like there's a whole thing of in comic books, everybody gets resurrected, and you kind of, that's a trope that could lend itself to superhero, RPGs. But there is like the question of like, so if a bad guy was defeated, and you bring the bad guy back, well, how do you square that circle? Is it actually that same character? Is it, is that character back? Have they, like, were they possessing someone and now they're possessing someone else? Or is it someone else picking up the mantle? Like in the original Ninja Turtles comic books, I like they ended up bringing back the Shredder at some point, because like not many people know this, but the Shredder was killed in the first issue of the comic book series. He was never going to be the main villain, and then they bring the character back, and there was always this question in the series: wasn't that actually the Shredder, or was it just somebody dressed as the Shredder? And then the way they kind of sorted it out, I thought that it got resolved really quite well with this resurrection storyline that they did in that one. Like it, but
it was his brother Blinder.
No, well, so the Foot Clan was basically a parody of the Hand, and the Hand Ninjas have resurrection, in the Marvel comics, like they bring back, right? So they in a way it was almost kind of like poking fun at them, like they'd always had been, where I don't know if I should say how they did it, but it was this body horror thing that they did to the Shredder. and in fact, actually, I've actually got this right here. This is the action figure set of the other failed Shredder clones. I saw this at Best Buy, and I could not get it fast enough, but I was a fan, anyways, but yeah, so like they had, they did this crazy body horror storyline to bring the Shredder back, and then it came down to this, final confrontation where they actually, had the stakes and the showdown that people probably really would have wanted.
Yeah, I've had main bad guys that died, and the players go, "Oh, he was really well connected. He probably had a clone. The clone spell?" And I'm like, "That's right, he did."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I mean, like look at Doctor Doom. Like, how many times they said, "Well, Doctor Doom, it was actually a robot,"
Yeah.
And then Doctor Doom actually has an ability, which I don't know how many people know about this, but like he actually there was a storyline where he ended up on so weird. He had been fighting the Fantastic Four in space during the Jack Kirby era, bailed out and got stuck to an asteroid, and then they were like, he was supposedly going to just die in space, but these aliens picked him up. They had like egg-shaped heads, and they taught him this this technique they have where they can switch bodies, and so he has that power.
Hmm.
And so he there was one comic where he was being defeated by the Fantastic Four, was about to die, and so he just swapped bodies with some innocent bystander,
Hmm.
and Doctor Doom survived. By
That kind of reminds me. One of Red Skull's famous returns is whenever he cloned Steve Rogers' body and put his mind.
Yes.
In it.
Yes, I thought that was interesting, and then he had like that cigarette he would smoke, and it would cause people's face, like the skin would
little Jokerish in a way.
yeah, exactly. Their skin would constrict from this gas, and then they would make it a Red Skull, and then he breathed it in by mistake and did it to him. Yeah.
Can't get rid of this face.
Yeah, exactly. But the Red Skull is actually a clone of Captain America. And, well,
that'd be cool. They should do that in the movies if they can.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So we had this other one. I do in the storyline in a superhero game, Heroes Limited, where there was like two versions of the same world, and so the players are running into evil versions of themselves. And one of the guys was playing this crazy stretch character that could turn into anything, like because they were just a combination of superpowers led him to like turn into any mechanical device, and he was super stretchy, and he never really played his character, I think, to his full potential, because the guy was just trying to be really ridiculous. And then I put in an evil version of him, and this one character was messing up the entire party, and he literally looked at everybody and apologized for creating this character. But the idea being that like if somebody's character died, they could potentially resurrect themselves by getting the duplicate and somehow getting the spirit of their dead friend into the duplicate's body. So that that was an option on the table until one of the players literally murdered the other duplicate just so that guy, our troublemaker friend, could not bring his character back. I thought that was an interesting plot twist.
I have a one shot that starts by a group of adventurers basically died, but they had a simulacrum that escaped, and the simulacrum is basically the quest giver, and it's weird because simulacrums they can't do everything. They're kind of limited in their mental abilities and stuff like that, and it was just like they have to ask like, why is this person so weird? And then you figure out that because that person died. I'm just talking to the simulacrum. But,
well, I've actually been looking at that spell recently, and I was considering like how to kind of like reflavor that spell for the cyber symbiosis universe, and I ended up kind of like reimagining it as the creation of a homunculus rather than like kind of thinking in those terms, right? Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting idea because when you take that, you start like following the like that logical trail on this. Suddenly you realize, okay, we've got another race we can add into the universe. Like you can actually play one of these things as a playable race. But then you also like, why would a wizard create this thing? And like the simulacrum, yeah, maybe it's a good useful minion, but what if it is a tactic for surviving being killed? What if you shift your mind into this minion that's a duplicate of you? Because like it's a duplicate of you. It has your mind, a copy of your mind, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not perfect, but that means there is a connection there. Either you've linked to it or you've imprinted upon it, but there's a piece of you in there. And if there's a piece of you actually in there, and that's what makes it you, like a little tiny little speck.
Well, that Manchun. The story of Manchun in Forgotten Realms. He basically created a whole bunch of clones of himself to do a lot a stuff, and eventually the clones decided that they're the real Manchun, and then they became a great clone war.
Right, you were doing that storyline in your version of.
I was touching on it. I wasn't really doing it. I was touching on it. Yeah, but yeah, it's always I've always thought it kind of fascinating. Yeah, it created a different Clone War than Star Wars, but yeah,
yeah, but yeah, so. Interesting.
What is that resurrection?
Yeah, well, I mean, like it's different way. Obviously, this topic's gone off the rails, but like there are, different ways to handle it. I mean, I guess on the topic of it, I'm not really a huge fan of like having that sort of thing. Like I think, like you can bring people can like bring their buddies back, but like there's that window where they're still alive, can be brought back. But I think if somebody's dead, that's kind of like in order to get them back. I mean. Because in Palladium system there are like hell dimensions and heaven dimensions you can go to, and like supposedly people could end up there, but like if I think if you want to like resurrect a party member, I think they're maybe having a quest to the underworld to bring bring them back is kind of fun. But I think just having I'm not really a fan of that revolving door.
Because also they'll die all the time. Then it'll just be like another quest, bring us right back.
Yeah. Like,
I think if I was not so lazy, I would make it like if they want to bring someone back, it has to be like a real adventure, like going to hell, maybe bring it back or something like that.
Yeah.
But if I'm more
What
lazy,
players you got? They're going to hell.
well, funny enough, one of the that Baylor we talked about in another video that had magic abilities had a sword that could literally anybody he killed would suck the soul from them and send them to the hell with him.
nice.
Not that he wasn't a Baylor; he was a pit fiend, or no, whatever the devil one is.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. But if you're too lazy to do that, then you can always do like the skill challenge to come back. And like what he said, a good option is just to say, you know what? There's no resurrection.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you're with like Revivify, where it's like if it's immediate, you can do like that clear and bring him back. But like any type of like long-term resurrection is just out the door, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, there are some there are some reanimation spells and rifts, but like they, like the person has to be there. There's conditions. Like you don't necessarily bring back a person that's been dead for years. Like you have to, if the person's recently deceased and there's something to actually reanimate, you can totally do it.
I think there was a game where was it second edition, D&D second edition, where bringing someone back is like a negative permanent negative level or something like that, or you lose stats or something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
It's pretty significant.
I think that's probably correct. I mean, I know that like the earlier 3.5, you lose like half your experience points for your level or something, and you can keep leveling down, and it's
yeah. I think like in Fate, for example, they could have it where if you don't want your character to die, you can come back, but you take like some kind of extreme consequence that won't go away anytime soon. So
yeah, I think that's cool. But like, the idea where your character eventually becomes unplayable, I just, compared to where the campaign's at, I didn't love my character enough to fight my way back to
well, hopefully don't die like repeatedly and stuff. So
yeah.
Hopefully it's not a meat grinder type thing, but
well,
it could be an OSR style.
Well, what killed me was the fact that I was borrowing somebody's magic wand and I didn't want to squander their item. I figured they want it back. I didn't want to go, well, sorry, I used it up. If I just stood back and just keep popping this magic wand off, it would have been fine. But I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm not, and it probably was not as big an issue as I thought it was. So
you should just have to roll for body part that doesn't come back. That's the way you do it.
So that's how it is in Game of Thrones, isn't it? So hey, well, I think we have a topipic here.
Yeah, we did a standard episode. We start on topic, we go way off the rails, and then we come back to the topic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what? So thanks everybody for watching. What do you all do for resurrection? Do you allow it? Not? Let us know in the comments. Do you have any funny stories of resurrection, or funny ways of handling it? Let us know. We'll answer back. We'll join in the conversation, and feel free to subscribe if you want to keep track of all of our episodes and other shows. So till next time.
And no electronic resurrections. They're called erections.
Nice.
And with that, goodbye.
When the dice roll high, we touch the sky. But when